What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of my What If Spider-Man Replaced Batman series. You guys already know what's going on, so without further ado, let's just get straight into it. Where we left off, Peter had been injected by a mysterious serum and undergone a massive transformation, as many of you correctly guessed, which is kind of funny because I was trying to drop so many hints, and I'm glad some of you got the hint. Peter had obtained the powers of the Creeper. Obviously, this is meant to be the stand-in for the Venom symbiote. You see, despite Marvel and DC shamelessly ripping each other off for decades, there isn't actually a character or thing you can safely say is the exact same as Venom within DC. Symbiotic-like entities do exist in DC, such as the Blue Beetle Scarab. Originally, when I first conceptualized this story, I had used one of these symbiotic entities to represent the Venom symbiote, this being the Blackrock symbiote. Reading the post-crisis origin of the villain Blackrock, you'll see instantly its similarities to Venom. It's a symbiotic alien life form that possesses a host and grants them powers. However, using Blackrock did leave a bad taste in my mouth, as the powers it grants a user isn't really conclusive from what I've seen in my research. It's sort of similar to a lantern power ring, where the user can create energy constructs / blasts and even fly in some cases. There are two cases where Batman and another character by the name of Lucia, both under the control of the Blackrock symbiote. On both those cases they fought Superman. And as we discussed in the previous part, when you fight Superman, that is sort of a feat. And for me, I feel as if this is way too unnatural of a power set for Spider-Man to have. I mean, what's the point of web swinging when you can literally fly and you have the strength of Superman? But the Blackrock symbiote could lead to some interesting avenues. However, by far the biggest issue I had with the Blackrock symbiote is that it doesn't really change the appearance of the user. When I think of the Venom symbiote, I think of how it drastically changed Peter. His personality completely shifts, and so does his costume to reflect that. It gives him a sleek new look. It's kind of goofy if he goes to suit up just to be covered in some weird alien veins. And apparently it also changes your skin as well, so you'll just have a Peter Parker that looks flipping diseased. Regardless, I decided to look elsewhere for Venom's symbiote substitute, and that's where I decided on the Creeper. It made perfect sense too, considering the Creeper's roots in Gotham, and without going into too much detail, it allows Spider-Man to explore the more magical side of DC, which is sure to make things very interesting. Now, when talking about the powers that Jack Ryder is granted as the Creeper, things are more conclusive and more in line with the Venom symbiote. First of all, he gets an all-new appearance that he's able to switch on and off. He has boosted reflexes, enhanced speed, stamina and strength. But unlike the Venom symbiote, the Creeper does not have any shape-shifting abilities, meaning Peter does not have access to unlimited webs. However, there is an interesting trade-off, and that is that it gives Peter an insane healing factor, able to recover from gunshots, stab wounds and the like. The Creeper has even been able to regenerate from death after being ripped apart. And so this is what I like to think of as a more natural power set for a symbiotic Spider-Man. Of course, a Deadpool-esque healing factor is OP, but it doesn't take away from any of Spider-Man's normal tools / powers. With that, I hope you guys can understand the decision to go with the Creeper suit. Speaking of which, I think we need a new name for this suit, because Creeper suit just sounds a bit wrong. Like with the Venom suit, it's the symbiotic Spider-Man. See if I can come up with something on the top of my head. Hell Spider suit? That's alright. Or maybe the Immortal Spider-Man. That could also work. I think I'll let the comments decide, as we did with Robin's new name, and we'll do another poll on the channel. So comment down below what you guys think the new suit should be named. Back with Peter in Gotham, the following weeks go very smoothly, even beyond smoothly. He finds that he has even more time than before. He's sweeping crime at such a heightened rate. Yet, Peter feels that he needs to do more, and thus he spends more time in the suit than he actually needs. On the other side of things, if he had trouble keeping up before, Dick Grayson is now having an even harder time being Spider-Man's partner. Things are easier for him, but in most cases it's like he's just getting in the way. Peter is stronger, faster, and more reactive. He doesn't need the Scarlet Spider to watch his back. Peter does try to reassure Dick, but his attempts fall on deaf ears. Like with the symbiote suit, Spider-Man will undergo a shift in personality. His humor becomes a bit darker, he's unhinged and more cruel, finding joy in punishing criminals. These may start out as momentary lapses and become more intertwined with his normal behavior as Peter relies more on the suit. I also believe that there is a possibility that the hit on Spider-Man would also have a larger influence, perhaps making him more paranoid, leading him to interrogate criminals who wouldn't even be involved. Or on the other side, it could make him more confident and ruthless, as he is essentially immortal. During this interim period, many criminals are trying to take their shot at Spider-Man, one of which includes another assassin in fact, Bronze Tiger, one of the most prolific martial artists in the DC universe. Bronze Tiger doesn't wish to catch Spider-Man by surprise, instead of giving him the chance of a fair 1v1, but Spider-Man doesn't care. Bronze Tiger is trying to claim his life. Instead, Peter makes the first move by lunging at Bronze Tiger. As I said before, Bronze Tiger is one of the most prestigious martial artists within DC, and that description isn't just for show. His prowess has allowed him to defeat the likes of Batman and Deathstroke in hand-to-hand combat, even stated to be on equal footing with Richard Dragon, who is considered to also be one of the best martial artists in DC. In any normal circumstance, Bronze Tiger would outclass Peter, but keep in mind that Peter is also amped by the powers of the Creeper. It could be argued that Bronze Tiger may not even be able to land a hit on Peter if his reflexes and speed are powered up enough to match that of his spider sense, which it certainly could be, considering that Jack Ryder was just a normal human but gained significant enhancements after becoming the Creeper. In Peter's case, it stacks on top of his spider powers. Back to the fight, Bronze Tiger could start off stoic and simple, sizing up Peter and gauging what he can do, only countering and throwing him around. This would work to frustrate Peter, but only make his behavior more erratic and make Spider-Man more unpredictable. Bronze Tiger would be blindsided by his constant quipping, comments, and laughter. Something to note about the Creeper is that his laugh is depicted as causing pain to his victims. I'm gonna take this as it being annoying, but you're free to your interpretation. But basically, Spider-Man is already annoying to all of his villains, but with the Creeper suit, oh lord, he could probably piss the Joker off. During the course of the fight, we would see Bronze Tiger get more angry, finally letting loose waves after waves of punches and kicks, the skill gap innately clear. While Peter is certainly quicker, he has no room to act. His webs are easily sliced through by Bronze Tiger's weapons. To be honest, I'm not very familiar with the character of Bronze Tiger, but through my research I found that he likes to kill. I could see him becoming bloodlusted throughout this encounter, more dangerous and trying to cut Peter down. I've found nothing to corroborate the idea that Bronze Tiger has strength equal or better than Spider-Man, and this is also an enhanced Spider-Man on top of that, so even with the clear martial arts gap, his speed and reflexes allow him to overpower and eventually defeat Bronze Tiger. With the martial artist suffering an immense beatdown by Spider-Man, only to be stopped by Gordon, who pulls him off of Bronze Tiger. Gordon shouts for Spider-Man to get off of Bronze Tiger, but Spider-Man only laughs in response. "No, come on! Why'd you stop me?" Gordon stares blankly at Spider-Man. He doesn't recognize the person standing before him. Gordon thinks that it's exactly like what happened to Harvey. Bronze Tiger is apprehended and sent to Blackgate Penitentiary, and Peter relaxes on a job well done. Eventually months pass by with Peter acting more or less the same. His school and social life become affected as he spends more time in the suit, seeing his life as Peter increasingly more as a chore. His last year of high school ends anticlimactically, with Peter even failing to make the graduation ceremony. But those closest to him haven't at all noticed an immense change from Peter's normal behavior. all except for Dick Grayson. And then, finally, many months since their last meeting, Martian Manhunter telepathically signals to Wonder Woman, Superman and Spider-Man that the time has finally come. Brainiac has arrived. Spider-Man once again leaves Gotham in the hands of Scarlet Spider and Spider-Woman. All three heroes meet Martian Manhunter at a specified place. Before him lies the remains of some sort of robotic creature in the form of a head connected to metallic tendrils. "What is it?" Wonder Woman asks, clearly perplexed. This is a scout," Martian Manhunter warns. "I theorize Brainiac sends out a drone to survey the planet, devising the most optimal way for an invasion. This is how it happened on Mars. Disappeared, and then not before long, Brainiac had come." "I see. Wonder Woman and I will fly up and check things out in the exosphere. See if we can't intercept Brainiac before he arrives." The pair shoot off into the sky, with Martian Manhunter and Spider-Man trailing slowly behind. Superman and Wonder Woman reach beyond the clouds, but they are quickly brought to a sharp stop in abject horror. They see Green Lantern just a few meters before them, and dwarfing the lantern is Brainiac's ship. It is already here. "What's going on?" Superman questions Green Lantern. "I was trying to convince him to leave Earth, but I think I just managed to piss him off. In the space of a minute, one of the ship's tentacles thrusts itself out of the ship and becomes embedded into the Earth. At the bottom, it opens up to unleash hordes of Brainiac's drones." "Oh God, that's Metropolis." Superman flies down to defend his city. GL looks at Wonder Woman. "I guess I'm with you guys now." They both chase after Superman, with Martian Manhunter and Spider-Man also following along. On the ground, the drones begin to pacify the city of Metropolis. Superman arrives just in time, saving civilians and destroying drones. Soon, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter and Spider-Man all combine as a joint stance against Brainiac. Overhead, Brainiac's ship descends further into view, now as clear as the sun. The heroes overcome waves of drones, the outcome clearly in their favor. Before him, Spidey witnesses a red streak rush through Metropolis, destroying countless drones in just a second. The Flash comes to a running halt. Green Lantern notices and hovers down.
"Looks like you could use a hand." "Flash, my boy, great to see you."
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
"I came as soon as I noticed. Any idea what the hell that thing's meant to be?" He points upwards to Brainiac's mothership. Green Lantern quickly gives Flash the rundown, and our 6 heroes converge on the source of the drones. Superman lifts it out of the ground and they all simultaneously destroy it. The tentacle seemingly retracts, broken and defeated. However, once again, the metallic shifting of the ship boons throughout the city as another tendril is shot out towards the ocean. The heroes fly towards the scene, watching slowly as the tentacle inches towards the water. At that moment, a sudden whirlpool forms and the water rises instantly around the tentacle. Flying out of the hole in the ocean is a man wielding a golden trident, and he meets the tentacle head-on with a thunderous crash. Superman also collides with the tentacle. The heavy hitters of the group manage to destroy it before it even touches the surface of the ocean. The man wielding the trident then reveals himself to be Aquaman, King of Atlantis. Someone whom Wonder Woman would recognize and be able to vouch for. He fits as the final missing piece of the group. Too long, Atlantis has been hidden from the surface world. Today we will unite as one planet to defend against this outsider. The League of Heroes ascend together to Brainiac's ship, attempting to take the destabilized invader by surprise. Superman uses his eye beams to cut a hole through the ship and they all enter. Inside, they see the true extent of Brainiac's insanity. Lining the interior of his ship are various glass containers, each filled with a different alien city. Some containers hold entire civilizations and more hold only a single species. Green Lantern hovers into the ship, carrying Spider-Man, Flash, and Aquaman inside of a bubble constructed from willpower. He names off each race as they pass by. Superman flies ahead. He's focusing on a specific pod, an outlier in Brainiac's collection. Within the pod, a blonde woman, distantly asleep. Carved into her pod is an insignia similar to the emblem on Superman's chest. He places a hand on the pod, his face a mixture of worry and confusion. The rest catch up to him. "You know her?" Wonder Woman asks. "She's Kryptonian." "How did Brainiac get his hands on a Kryptonian?" Superman. Diana places a hand on his shoulder. "We'll come back for them later." "All of them," Spider-Man adds. They both turn and nod. They continue for Brainiac's ship, fighting his forces where they may be. Soon, they reach the central access point of the mothership. They see a figure, plugged in the center, connected by various wires and cables which spread out to who knows where. A voice, cold and emotionless, calls out,
"A Kryptonian, a Martian, a god, a half-breed, and 3 humans."
It hums and whirs like it is calculating something. This is Earth's defense. It snaps its head around on the spot. Its lifeless limbs raise up to point at Jean.
"You should have warned them not to fight. It is meaningless."
"No, Brainiac. Your scourge over the universe ends right here." Green Lantern cuts in, getting face to face with Brainiac. "GL, what are you doing?" Flash calls after him. "Brainiac, after numerous warnings, I hereby announce you as under arrest by the authority of the Green Lantern Corps and the Guardians of the Universe for breaking numerous acts. These include..." Brainiac's eyes flash, which causes Hal Jordan to flinch and step back. "Curious. I do not have a Green Lantern within my collection. You would fit." Suddenly, a wire detaches itself from Brainiac and flies straight at Hal. It coils around the lantern, tightening with each loop. Hal attempts to find courage, his green light intensifying before dimming entirely as he struggles to breathe. At once, the League charges on Brainiac. It deploys its various legions of robots and drones which encircle the League. The Flash uses his speed to take out many of the smaller, less durable drones. Heavy hitters like Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, and Superman take on the larger scale robots which require immediate attention. Wonder Woman hacks at the limb coiled around Hal before finally slicing through it with her sword. He breaks free, finally joining the fight. Spider-Man uses his webs to launch himself directly at Brainiac. Thanks to his impressive reflexes and speed, he holds his own against Brainiac's onslaught of metallic tentacles and cybernetic attacks. Slowly, Brainiac's strikes become faster, methodical, and more accurate, while Spider-Man's own seem to have no effect. Of course, Brainiac within the comics is a Superman villain. He consistently battles Superman, losing but showcasing that he is durable enough to brush off hits from the Man of Steel. He is also powerful enough to beat the piss out of Superman on a regular basis, and this is without kryptonite, so eat your heart out, Metallo. Spider-Man spins around into a lethal roundhouse kick which snaps Brainiac's head back. Brainiac retaliates by grabbing Spider-Man's leg and throwing him to the ground, stunning our webbed hero. Using his cybernetic tendrils, he grabs Spider-Man and uses another to punch a hole through his chest. He drops Spider-Man, who quickly rises again, laughing maniacally, much to the disguised shock of Brainiac. "What? Like it? It's nanotechnology," he says as the hole in his chest completely heals. "That is not nanotechnology." Spider-Man strikes once more before he can register what Brainiac said. He begins pushing this cybernetic monster back with a barrage of punches and kicks before a timed backhand by Brainiac sends him flying across the room. Brainiac uses his complete mastery of the ship to interfere with the hero's ongoing battle, latching tentacles. Someone count how many times I've said tentacles, this is starting to get worrying. Onto each hero. The only one fast enough to think at the same speed as Brainiac is the Flash. He casually steps aside, avoiding the tentacle meant for him. He works quickly, severing each of Brainiac's limbs directed at one of his fellow heroes, before running full speed at Brainiac. But Brainiac had calculated this. All that time spent saving the others gave Brainiac just enough time to catch the Flash off guard, stopping him mere moments from his face. Brainiac holds Flash in a desperate chokehold. New tentacles spring out from the ship, recapturing the heroes as Brainiac lines them up in front of him. Superman attempts to use his heat vision to melt the metals entrapping him, but it's no use. They all struggle as Brainiac speaks.
Futile, whatever you think you may be. Heroes, kings, gods. Brainiac is infinitely more.
While Brainiac begins his monologue, Spider-Man uses Martian Manhunter's link to speak with the team. He tells Superman to use his heat vision to sever his limbs so that he can slip through the coils before they tighten further. Superman is astounded at Spider-Man's request and initially refuses. Spider-Man reminds Superman about his new powers and the Man of Steel reluctantly agrees. He severs Spider-Man from shoulder to hip on each side, making him just thin enough so that Spider-Man could simply fall through the coils. That feels great, Spider-Man says as he lands, regenerating his lost limbs. He leaps at Brainiac, kicking him with such force that he lets the Flash go. Barry smiles and quickly frees the others whilst returning Peter his web shooters. The seven assemble, taking one final stand against the heaving Brainiac. And to be honest, they jump in his ass. Can you imagine the 7-man combo they would deliver on Brainiac at this moment? Spider-Man shoots a web at Brainiac's face and Superman shoves him, Brainiac stumbling into Aquaman's trident, who lifts him up with pride. Wonder Woman readies her blade, slicing at Brainiac, joined by Martian Manhunter as they both rip and tear into him, eventually leaving him for Green Lantern to stomp on with a giant mech suit. As the Flash lands the final blow, Brainiac lies broken and defeated. However, he uses his final hand. The mothership begins to shake and plummets towards Metropolis, threatening to level the entire city. Superman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern all race to stop its fall, and they manage to do it, carrying the ship to a nearby swamp and safely putting it to rest. Following these events, Brainiac is sent into the Phantom Zone by Superman. They remove much of what they can from Brainiac's ship. The bottled alien cities cannot be restored on Earth after all. They find cities from Krypton which are to be returned to the Fortress of Solitude with Superman. The rest will go with the Green Lantern Corps to Oa. They also manage to find surviving Martian cities inside of Brainiac's collection, in which Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter will go to Mars to restore them properly. The heroes decide that a team is needed to defend Earth against threats like Brainiac, and so the Justice League is fully realized. Martian Manhunter decides to stay on Earth as a League member despite the prospect of his planet surviving extinction. Superman also extends a hand to Spider-Man. So what do you think? The Justice League has a certain ring to it, doesn't it? We want you to be a full-time member. I think one planetary threat is enough for me right now. I'll stick to being just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Besides, you guys look like you have things handled. Superman chuckles. Remember that the offer is always there on the table. The League always welcomes a hero like you. He gives him a wave goodbye and flies off. Spider-Man isn't suited to being a part of a superhero team like the Avengers or Justice League. A real life reason for this, in my opinion, is that Spider-Man as a franchise is big enough to stand with the Avengers by himself. Therefore, him joining up with a team, whether it be Avengers or X-Men, is likely to be in a crossover story. In the comics, he does officially join the Avengers at one point, but only as a part-timer. But obviously, when there is a large-scale threat, he will be there. Here, I do believe it is the same. Spider-Man is more likely to simply cross over with other teams when the situation arises. And you can infer that that happens from this point on. Spider-Man may be doing team-ups more often as the Justice League now exists. In terms of the Justice League, I could see it sticking to its core 7 members: Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, and whoever the last member is that they decide upon. And then eventually they'll move on to a Justice League Unlimited situation where they open up the league to every superhero. Spider-Man yet again returns to Gotham, finally home, and for good this time. As the city comes into view, however, he sees plumes of thick smoke rising into the dark sky. He swings into the city, finding it completely ablaze. He desperately lands near a billboard, gawking at what it displays. A video loops over and over again of a crazed man laughing hysterically before saying, "Spider-Man, come out to play." And that is where I'm gonna leave it for today. Tomorrow, I mean, why am I saying tomorrow? Whoa, 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 whoa. No, not tomorrow, not tomorrow. I mean, the next part, we will finally meet the Joker. Until then, watch the other parts, like, subscribe, comment, and as always, I've been your boy Polar. Peace.